My precious friend, if you are listening to me right now, it's not an accident. Oh, knock, heaven does not deal in accidents. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to be here. Yes. Even in the middle of the pain. Even in the middle of the confusion. Even while you're wondering where the light went. Can I tell you something beautiful? Even the greatest journeys begin in places that look like endings. Even the most powerful songs are born from silence. Even the brightest morning rises from the darkest night. So if you're in the night, hold on, because morning is coming. Maybe you've cried yourself to sleep. Maybe you've begged for answers that never came. Maybe you've prayed with trembling lips and aching hands. But I want you to know, the silence of heaven does not mean absence. Sometimes, when it's quiet, it's because something sacred is unfolding behind the scenes. You don't have to see the whole picture to trust the hand of the artist. You are not forgotten. It doesn't matter how long you've felt invisible, how many nights you've cried in silence, or how many people have walked past you like you weren't even there. You are not forgotten. You may feel like the world has moved on without you, like everyone else is thriving while you're standing still. But I want you to know, with every part of my being, that there is a place in this universe that only you can fill. You were crafted, not created at random. You were formed with care. You are seen even when you don't feel seen. You are known even when you feel misunderstood. And you are loved even in the moments you feel most unlovable. Sometimes life can wrap around you like a fog, a mist so thick you forget the shape of your own soul. You go through the motions, trying to be strong, trying to survive, all the while wondering if anyone notices how much you're really holding in. You scroll through images of smiling faces, read the highlight reels of others, and you begin to believe the lie that maybe you don't matter. Maybe if you disappeared, the world would just keep spinning, untouched by your absence. But oh, how wrong that lie is. Because your presence shifts the atmosphere. Your voice carries a frequency that no one else can echo. Your pain, your joy, your questions, your laughter. They all leave a mark that ripples through time. Even in your lowest moments, someone has noticed. Someone has felt the warmth of your kindness. Even when you were barely holding yourself together. Someone has remembered your words, even when you thought they went unheard. Someone has drawn strength from you, even while you were silently falling apart. You have been more significant than you realize, and your impact has reached further than you know. There are seasons when life feels like a long hallway, doors closed on every side, the lights dim, your footsteps echoing without direction. In those seasons, it's easy to believe that you've been left behind, forgotten, overlooked. But let me remind you, silence is not abandonment. Waiting is not wasting. Delay is not denial. Sometimes, what feels like being forgotten is actually a season of being hidden. For your protection, for your growth, for the unfolding of something sacred that isn't ready yet. There is a timing greater than your understanding, and it holds your name gently within it. You are not invisible to the ones who matter, and you are never invisible to the one who made you. Your tears have not gone unnoticed. Every single one has been seen. Every thought, every whisper in the night, every silent plea you've offered when words failed you. They have all been heard. There is a divine attention set on your life, watching, waiting, guiding. Even when you can't feel it. Even when all you feel is numbness or fear. You are being held more closely than you know. There is a divine memory in this universe that never forgets you. A remembering that doesn't fade with time or distance or failure. You have not been disqualified. You are not too late. You have not missed your moment. There are still pages being written with your name in the margins. There are still dreams reserved just for you. Dreams no one else can carry. There is a love that has never stopped reaching for you, even when you turned away, even when you couldn't feel it anymore. Pain is not the end of your story. You may be walking through something right now that feels unbearable. Maybe it came without warning, like a sudden storm, or maybe it built slowly, until one day you woke up and couldn't remember what peace felt like. The pain might be physical, or it might be buried so deeply inside your soul that even you can't explain it. It lingers. It suffocates, it colors the way you see the world, and there are moments when it whispers to you that this is it, that this is how things will always be. But pain is not your destination. It is not the final chapter of your life. It is not the conclusion to your story. Pain is real. It's not weakness, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It means you've lived, you've felt, you've loved deeply, you've hoped boldly. It means something mattered to you enough to break your heart. And while it may feel like it has stolen too much, pain often becomes the very thing that awakens us to what still matters. What you feel right now may seem like it's defining you, but it's only refining you. You are not the wound. You are not the loss. You are the one who is still breathing through it. You are the one who is still standing, even if just barely. There is a sacredness to suffering that few talk about. The quiet courage it takes to get out of bed when your soul feels heavy. The silent prayers whispered when no one else sees the tears. The choice to show up anyway. Every time you decide to keep going, even when everything inside of you is breaking, you are doing something extraordinary. You are proving that pain, no matter how loud it gets, does not have the power to silence your purpose. Sometimes pain exposes what we've tried to hide. It brings everything to the surface. All the insecurities, the fears, the doubts. They come rushing in. But maybe that's part of the healing. Maybe the breaking isn't the end, but the beginning of something new being born. A version of you that is more raw, more real, more honest, and more deeply connected to life. Because the people who have walked through pain carry a depth in their eyes, a softness in their voice, a strength in their presence. They know what it means to lose, and so they cherish what remains. They know how fragile life is, and so they hold others closer. Pain changes us, yes, but it can also awaken us. It can stir compassion where there was once apathy. It can birth purpose where there was once confusion. It can push us to ask deeper questions, to seek deeper truth, to live more fully and love more freely. And while we never would have chosen the pain, once it's here, we get to choose what it creates in us. We get to choose whether it buries us or builds us. You are allowed to feel all of it. The anger, the sadness, the grief, the fatigue. You are allowed to not have it all figured out. But in the midst of it, never forgetting, what hurts today does not have the authority to dictate who you become tomorrow. The age may shape you, but it cannot define you. It is a chapter, not the whole book. There are still pages ahead. Pages filled with redemption, with healing, with things you haven't even dreamed of yet. Silence doesn't mean absence. There are moments in life when everything goes quiet. When the voices you once relied on disappear. When the answers you begged for never seem to come. When the prayers you whispered feel like they drifted into an empty sky. And in that silence, doubt begins to creep in. You wonder if you've been abandoned. You wonder if you've done something wrong. You wonder if the silence is proof that no one is listening. But silence is not the same as absence. Silence is not rejection. Silence is not the end of connection. There is a silence that speaks, even when no words are heard. There is a silence that holds more presence than the loudest room. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean something isn't shifting. The deepest work in your life often takes place in the dark. Seeds grow in silence. Wounds heal beneath the surface. Transformation begins long before it becomes visible. You may be in a season where everything feels hidden, where the clarity you once had has turned to fog, where every step forward feels like it's taken with a blindfold on. But this season is not wasted. This quiet is not empty. It is a space where things are forming that words cannot explain. It's the space where your roots grow deeper, even when no one sees them, where your spirit learns to listen, not just with your ears but with your soul. This kind of silence is sacred. It demands trust, not understanding. We are conditioned to equate noise with progress, constant motion, constant feedback, constant results. But there is a deeper wisdom that unfolds in stillness. Not everything is supposed to happen fast. Not everything is meant to be known right away. Some of the most beautiful parts of life require time, patience, and silence. The kind of silence where the noise of the world fades, and what's left is the sound of your own becoming. Sometimes silence is not because you've been left alone, but because something greater is at work. Think of a sculptor shaping stone. The room is quiet. The process looks still, but with each careful touch, something magnificent is taking form. That's what this silence could be. A season of sculpting. A time when your character is being shaped, when your resilience is being strengthened, when your heart is being prepared for what's coming next. There's also a silence that invites you inward, not to isolate you, but to awaken you, to bring you back to yourself, to remind you of the voice inside that doesn't shout, but whispers. That voice is not gone. It's just waiting for you to hear differently, waiting for you to tune in beyond the surface. Sometimes we search for answers outside when the truth is already within. Silence creates the space to hear it. When things go quiet, it's easy to assume we've lost our way. But sometimes the quiet means we're exactly where we need to be. The silence stretches us. It tests our faith. It teaches us to hold on, even when we can't explain why. And in that holding on, something unshakable is born. A knowing that doesn't come from evidence but from endurance. A confidence that doesn't need constant affirmation, but comes from surviving the stillness. You haven't been forgotten in the silence. You haven't been left behind. What you're experiencing now may be the ground upon which the next miracle is being built. The silence is not empty space. It is a pause before the shift. a breath before the breakthrough, a stillness where the deep parts of your life are aligning in ways you can't yet comprehend. You are stronger than you think. There have been moments you didn't think you'd survive, and yet here you are, breathing, existing, holding on in ways no one else may ever fully understand. There is a strength in you that has quietly carried you through days you never thought to get through. Not loud, not flashy, but steady, real, and it didn't come from comfort. It came from struggle. It came from choosing to keep moving when everything in you was tired of the fight. Strength doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like tears on a pillow at 2 a.m. and still waking up the next day. Sometimes it looks like showing up with a smile when your heart is heavy. Sometimes it's the courage to say, "I'm not okay," and still reach out for help. Sometimes it's just breathing, one breath after another, refusing to quit even when everything inside you feels broken. That kind of strength isn't weakness. It's sacred. You've been through things that tried to take your voice, your vision, your value. And maybe for a while they succeeded. Maybe you lost your footing. Maybe you lost yourself, but you didn't stay lost. Somewhere inside you still held on. Maybe it was faint. Maybe it was messy, but it was still there. That thread of hope that refused to snap. That quiet voice that said, "Not yet." And that voice is proof of something powerful inside you. You are stronger because you've fallen and stood back up. You are stronger because you felt fear and kept going. You are stronger because you've been wounded and still found a way to love again. That strength wasn't taught to you. It was born from within you. It was revealed in the moments you thought would destroy you but didn't. It lives in your story, in the pieces you picked up when no one else could. So many people look for strength in loud places, in titles, in achievements, in applause. But the most profound strength often grows in silence, in the ordinary, in the waiting, in the pain. You don't always notice it while it's forming. It grows slowly like roots under the ground, but it becomes unshakable, unmovable. And when the storms come, and they do, that hidden strength is what keeps you standing. Even in your weakness, strength is being made. Even when you feel like you have nothing left, something deep within is still choosing to continue. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's power. You don't have to have it all together to be strong. You just have to keep showing up, keep choosing life, keep choosing love, keep choosing to believe, even if it's just a little, that your story is not over yet. There is a resilience in you that refuses to quit. There is a power in you that can't be measured by appearance or performance. It's in your survival. It's in your fight. It's in the moments you encourage someone else, even while you were struggling. It's in the way you've learned to carry the weight with grace, even when it hurts. That strength the world can't always see. But it's real and it's yours. You've come further than you realize. And even now, when things still feel uncertain, there is more within you than you know. You may not feel strong every day. You may not feel brave every minute. But your strength is not based on feeling. It's based on what you've endured, what you've learned, what you've overcome. And that strength will carry you forward, just like it has carried you this far. Brokenness is the birthplace of beauty. There's something sacred that happens in the moments when everything falls apart. It doesn't feel holy. It doesn't feel beautiful. It feels raw. It feels exposed. It feels like the pieces of your life are scattered so far apart, you don't know if they'll ever come together again. But brokenness isn't the end. It's not a flaw in your story. It's a doorway into something deeper, something real, something that cannot be touched by shallow words or surface living. In the breaking, things are revealed. Layers fall away. Masks are stripped. The distractions and defenses you once held close begin to dissolve. You start to see what really matters. You start to hear what was always there beneath the noise. It's in that space, the space where you feel shattered, that truth begins to rise. Because when everything else is gone, what remains is what's most real. The courage to feel, the strength to admit you're not okay, the hope that somehow even this can become something meaningful. Beauty born from brokenness is different from the kind we chase in the world. It's not polished. It's not perfect. It's not always visible at first glance. It's the kind of beauty that speaks in quiet places. It lives in the scars, in the healing, in the comeback. It carries the weight of survival, the tenderness of empathy, the wisdom of having walked through fire and still choosing to love. That kind of beauty can't be manufactured. It's earned. It's grown through pain, through honesty, through surrender. When you're broken, everything feels vulnerable. You start to question your worth, your purpose, your future. But brokenness doesn't mean worthless. A cracked vessel still holds light. A wounded soul still holds love. Sometimes it's the cracks that allow the light to shine through. The most breathtaking stories are not those of people who never fell. They're the stories of those who did, and who rose again with something more in their eyes, something deeper, something eternal. There is a tenderness that grows in the broken places, a gentleness that you don't have before the fall. You learn how to be present, how to sit with others in their pain without needing to fix it. You learn that silence can be sacred, that presence is more powerful than platitudes. You learn that compassion isn't something you just give, it's something you become. That is the beauty rising from the broken. The world teaches us to fear brokenness, to hide it, to pretend we're fine when we're falling apart. But what if we didn't have to hide? What if the breaking wasn't something to be ashamed of, but something that marked the beginning of becoming real? The truth is, every person you admire, every soul that moves you, every heart that feels like home, they've known brokenness, and instead of being destroyed by it, they were shaped by it, softened by it, deepened by it. You may be in the middle of it right now. You may feel like you're barely holding on, like you're trying to gather pieces that no longer fit. But what if those broken pieces aren't meant to be put back the same way? What if the breaking was never meant to take you backward, but to lead you somewhere new? Somewhere you couldn't have gone if everything had stayed whole. Brokenness opens doors that strength alone never could. It makes space for transformation that comfort never invites. This kind of beauty doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be explained. It speaks for itself in the quiet resilience of a soul that's been through the storm and still chooses light, still chooses love, still chooses to believe that something sacred is being made from all the shattered things. Destiny still calls your name, even if you've walked away, even if you've forgotten what it felt like to dream, even if life has knocked the wind out of you and left you wondering if there's anything left worth reaching for. Destiny hasn't stopped calling. The sound may be faint now. It may be buried beneath the noise of disappointment, fear, or failure, but it's still there, still echoing in the background of your soul, waiting for you to remember who you are and why you're here. There are moments in life that try to convince you it's over, that you've missed your chance, that too much time has passed, too many mistakes have been made, too much damage has been done. But destiny is not that fragile. It doesn't depend on your perfection. It isn't destroyed by detours. It waits. It weaves through the mess. It bends through your choices, never losing sight of its direction. Destiny is patient. It's resilient. And it doesn't give up on you even when you give up on yourself. You might not recognize yourself anymore. You might feel like a stranger in your own skin. Life does that sometimes. It pushes. It bruises. It steals pieces of your identity until you're not sure what's left. But destiny sees the part of you that hasn't changed. The part that still holds a spark, even if it's hidden under layers of hurt. You are still the one who carries the dream. You are still the one chosen for the journey. You are still the one with a name written in the stars. Your path hasn't been erased. It's just been rewritten with greater depth. The delays, the detours, the heartbreaks, they didn't cancel your calling. They prepared you for it. They built in you what comfort never could. They taught you to listen more closely, to feel more deeply, to move more carefully. You're not the same person you were before the pain. And that's exactly why your destiny will mean even more when it finds you again. You don't have to chase it down. You don't have to force it or fake it. You just have to get quiet enough to hear it again. Destiny doesn't scream, it whispers. And the whisper will always call you toward truth, toward what was always meant for you, even when you forgot how to want it. It will tug on your heart in unexpected ways, through a conversation, a memory, a moment that catches you off guard. And suddenly you'll remember the vision that once lit you up, the voice that once gave you peace, the dream you buried but never truly lost. You're not too late. You are not too broken. You are not disqualified. Every part of your journey, even the parts you wish you could erase, has been part of the shaping. Destiny doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to say yes again, to believe again, to take one small step toward the thing that still makes your soul come alive. This isn't about going back. It's about moving forward with more purpose, more wisdom, more clarity. What is meant for you has not been taken from you. It may have taken a different form. It may arrive in a way you didn't expect, but it's still yours, and it will recognize you when you're ready. The universe has not forgotten what it wrote into your DNA. That calling, that pull, that unshakable sense that you were made for more. It was never an accident. It was never just a feeling. It was a glimpse of what was planted inside you from the beginning. The valley is not your home. You may feel surrounded by shadows right now. Disappointment heavy on your chest, uncertainty clouding every decision, questions louder than answers. It may feel like you've been walking through a season that stretches on endlessly, a valley that offers no light, no hint of rising ground, just more of the same long H. It's easy, in that place, to forget what hope feels like. It's easy to start believing the lie that this valley is where you're meant to stay. But the valley is not your home. It's not your identity. It's not your ending. We all pass through valleys. No one escapes them. They come dressed in different forms. Grief, betrayal, loneliness, failure, exhaustion. But their effect is the same. They slow us down. They strip us. They reveal things we didn't know we were carrying. They confront us with questions we don't want to answer. And yet, even as they test us, valleys have a way of leading us somewhere deeper than we could have gone if the path had stayed easy. Because there are revelations you only receive in the valley. Wisdom you only gain when you've been emptied. Strength you only uncover when there's nothing left but your will to keep walking. The temptation in the valley is to build your home there, to decide it's too far to climb again, to say, this is just who I am now, someone who lost, someone who was left, someone who doesn't finish the story they started. But that's not who you are. The pain you're carrying is not your identity. The valley may be your current location, but it is not your final destination. You were never meant to stay here. It's hard to keep walking when nothing around you is changing, when every day feels like the same battle, the same waiting, the same silence. But even slow steps are still forward. Even when it feels like you're moving in circles, something is being refined. You're not going backwards. The struggle is shaping you. Every day you get up and choose to keep going, you're resisting the pull to give up. And that resistance builds a strength that will serve you in the seasons ahead. There's something profound about those who walk through valleys and still choose to love, to try again. Because those choices aren't easy. They aren't impulsive. They are forged in fire. You can't fake that kind of endurance. You can't fabricate that kind of faith. It is earned, and it becomes the foundation for something lasting. Because when you emerge from the valley, and you will, you won't be who you were when you entered. You'll be stronger, wiser, more grounded, more aware of what matters, more capable of holding space for others, more grateful for light because you've known the depth of darkness. People who have lived through valleys walk differently. Not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence. They don't need to prove themselves, because they've already survived the thing that tried to destroy them. They carry peace in places they used to carry panic. They know how to sit in silence and not feel afraid. They know how to wait not with bitterness but with trust. That kind of growth doesn't happen on the mountaintop. It's born in the valley, in the long unseen process of showing up when it would be easier to quit. And even though valleys feel lonely, you are not walking them alone. Even when you can't feel it, something greater is beside you, carrying the parts of you too tired to move. You are being held in ways you can't yet see, guided through a path that will one day make sense. The ground beneath your feet is not empty. It is sacred. Something is growing in this soil, even if your eyes haven't caught up yet. This pain has a purpose. It might not feel like it right now. It might feel meaningless, cruel, senseless, like a weight you never asked to carry. Pain often shows up uninvited, crashing into your plans, disrupting your peace, and pressing against your soul in ways that make you question everything. But pain is never random. It is never wasted. It always carries within it the seeds of transformation, the whisper of deeper truths, the doorway into a version of you that could not exist without the breaking. Pain slows us down. It brings us face to face with our limits, our wounds, our unresolved stories. It has a way of shining a light on what we've ignored, what we've buried, what we've tried so hard to outrun. It strips us of the illusions we cling to, forcing us into uncomfortable honesty. And in that vulnerability, in that sacred space of surrender, we begin to discover what is real, what is eternal, what no storm can take. Purpose doesn't always look like progress. It doesn't always feel like breakthrough. Sometimes it feels like falling apart. Sometimes it looks like standing still. But even in the stillness, something is shifting. Even in the silence, something is speaking. You are being reshaped even when it looks like ruin. What you thought was the end may be the beginning of something only pain could teach you. Something your comfort zone could never deliver. Something too holy to be wrapped in ease. There is purpose in the tears you cry behind closed doors, in the questions you ask when no one is listening, in the silent battles you fight in the night. That purpose is not just about where you're going, but about who you are becoming. Pain refines, it deepens. Pain purifies. It takes the shallow parts of us and drives them into the deep waters, where character is forged, where truth is revealed, where love becomes more than just a feeling and starts to become a way of living. You may be tempted to numb it, to run from it, to to distract yourself with anything that promises relief. But pain doesn't release its gifts when you avoid it. It only reveals them when you lean in, when you let yourself feel it, when you stop pretending you're fine and let the sorrow have its voice. Pain, when embraced with open hands, can lead you to healing. Not the kind that pretends nothing happened, but the kind that rises from the ashes and says, I'm still here, and I am being made new. Some of the most powerful people you will ever meet are not those who have avoided pain, but those who have walked through it and let it change them. They carry a quiet authority, a soft wisdom, a gentleness that wasn't there before. Because pain didn't harden them. It softened them in the right places. It made them more compassionate, more present, more aware of how fragile and sacred life truly is. That kind of person doesn't just survive pain. They steward it. They allow it to become part of their purpose. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to make sense of it in this moment, with your heart, but you can trust that there is more to this than what you can currently see. You can choose to believe that something is being written behind the scenes. Something your heart will one day understand. This pain you're carrying is not the absence of purpose. It may be the very soil in which your purpose is being born. What feels like loss may be clearing the way. What feels like delay may be divine preparation. What feels like silence may be the space where your destiny is quietly unfolding. You are not lost, you are being led, not abandoned but invited. Invited to rise, to remember, to rebuild from the inside out. Every tear, every silence, every moment you thought it was over has been a thread in a divine design you can't yet see. The valley will not hold you forever. The pain will not define you. The brokenness is not your end, it is the shaping of your beginning. There is beauty coming from your ashes, power being born from your surrender, and purpose unfolding in every shadowed step you take. This is not the end of your story. It is the awakening of who you truly are. Destiny still calls your name, and you will answer not with fear, but with fire.